to Croptastic, the podcast by InnerPlant. Today is a very special episode because we're going to delve into a part of our company that we don't really give as much exposure as I'd like to, and that's our detection. So there's really kind of two parts to InnerPlant. There's the plant part, which we do the biology to create the plants that fluoresce when they're under stress, but then the other critical component that we work with is the detection, and that's the physics behind actually being able to detect that signal in daylight from as far away as space. And joining me today are Piyush, Pandey, and Brandon Rasmussen, and they're both part of our detection team. Each has a different area. Piyush focuses on the terrestrial detection and our active detection system, and Brandon is kind of our satellite guru. So he's the guy who's done some real breakthrough stuff lately for us, detecting from space. Super excited to talk to you guys. Thanks for your time today.
Thanks for having us.
Cool. So first, I guess, elephant in the room or bar in the room, what's this thing behind us?
This is the 2025 Sentinel imaging system. We call it the light bar for the crop voice system that we are developing for doing early detection of fungal infection in the field and alerting our customers for spray recommendations.
And boy, more than a little work went into designing that. I mean, it's been years in the making. So Piyush, walk me through like where we started and then just the process to get here.
So this started several years ago, the process that led us to this design. So in the beginning, we had lab imagers which do similar things in the lab, which is turn on the excitation light and then capture fluorescence images. Now going out to the field, we have several challenges. In the lab, we can make it dark with a box that's enclosed. But in the field, you cannot do that easily. So last year, we developed two systems. One was a tower with excitation lights and cameras that would work in the night since it's dark. And then the other was a small box, which was a portable system for making it dark artificially. And through those systems, this summer, we learned a lot of things. Like we end up damaging a lot of plants if we are walking around in the field making it dark. And we learned that the tower is a very nice design, but it has to be easy to maintain and just simpler to assemble in the field. So we reduced our 10-foot design from this summer to a more manageable design, as you see here. And we took the good aspects of both our designs from the summer to distill down to this system that we are going to deploy in 2025.
Most people get, okay, so there's an excitation light and then a filter, but you built there's much more to what you've built on this bar. So in addition to just the excitation light and the filter, what else is going on in there?
Oh, there's a lot of things going on in the background. So if you think of it in broad terms, there are two aspects. One is the actual optical imaging, which is where we have the filter over the camera and we figure out the wavelengths that we need to see and we decide on the specs for that. And then the other side of it, which is the more engineering side of it, is just to put the system together and to power it and run it every day. So you design the mechanical system so that it stands out in the field and withstands the wind and maybe people hitting it. And then there is this problem of powering it. So you decide on how do you power things in the field. Do you put a solar panel or a battery? And then you decide on things like how do you get the data from it to the cloud, and you decide on the cell modem and things like that. So there is mechanical design, computer programming, electrical engineering that goes into it, and a lot of things you just learn in the field by putting things out there. And of course the optics of it, where you decide the wavelengths and the filters that you need to use for the lights in the camera.
Got it. And so, Brandon, Piyush is building this active detection, which goes at night. But what you are working on is actually detecting the signals in daylight from space. So walk me through like where that was, because you've been here for what, 3 years now, 2-3 years?
Year and a half or so.
Okay, year and a half. But in that year and a half, it's been a pretty amazing journey. I was fortunate enough to be here through that entire thing, and it's just been leaps and bounds. So kind of walk me through how that started out and how you're able to do it in daylight, because I think it's clear that we understand, I guess, conceptually why it's hard to detect. It's easier to detect at night. So like, how do you detect something in daylight like that?
Yeah, I'll definitely start by saying there was a good amount of work done here by the previous team. We kind of rebuilt the team from scratch when I first got here, but we were in a really exciting spot when I was having my first hours here. Essentially, we had just planted our first real satellite-sized target in Argentina, and as soon as I got here, we were gathering together all of the possible commercial and public groups that could actually image our field, and really taking our first shot at imaging a satellite target that was big enough for the specific systems that we need to use to detect our signal in the daylight, which, as you pointed out and alluded to, is a really difficult process. And from there, we've really replicated that experiment and kind of pushed the limits of the brightness of the plants that we think we can detect and the size of the targets that we can detect. So a lot of work went into this summer designing experiments to answer those questions of sensitivity and size. And the results there have been really close to what we expected from physics and modeling, which was always cool to see that really happen, really see it play out like you expect.
The math actually is true.
Yeah.
We did the Argentina test, which was winter 2023. This summer we had some exciting captures as well. So walk me through those and what the implications of those are.
Yeah. So we got to work with a couple of really cool systems, and we basically designed our experiments around these systems. We worked with DSIS, which is a hyperspectral imager on the International Space Station, and we worked with NMAP, which is a German hyperspectral satellite. In both cases, a single pixel of the image is about 30 meters on each side, so one pixel is about a quarter acre. So we need a lot of seeds and we need a lot of space in order to really understand what our signal looks like in a satellite. So our experiment in Missouri was set up with that in mind, and we got our first chance of really building targets to answer those questions that we have about sensitivity and target sizes. So we actually had a partner of ours plant the same plants that we detected in Argentina, but interspersed with real commercial varieties of soybean, and then also mixed together a commercial variety of soybeans and our seeds to produce a smaller fluorescence signal. So we had real targets the size of multiple acres specifically for our satellites to look at. It was pretty cool to put it all together on a piece of paper and see it come to life out in the field for sure.
That's great. And so how, you said that one pixel is about a quarter acre. How fine are we getting? And that's something that presumably we're going to iterate towards. We start big because the field in Argentina was just many acres, and we just wanted to see if we could detect it. And now we're starting to get smaller. And what's that process look like?
Yeah, so the targets in Missouri were getting at that question directly with multiple different sizes of targets, and then seeing whether or not we could detect each individual target significantly above the background commercial variety. And we learned that even at the single pixel or close to sub-pixel level, we were able to detect our signal, which was really, really cool to see.
That's great. And so what's next? I know you've got some more experiments planned. Where do we go from here?
Yeah, so one of the big questions we had was we went through this process of mixing together a commercial variety with our calibration plants to lessen the level of our signal in a per pixel basis. And we don't really know or understand how representative that is of a reduced signal level. So ultimately what we want to do is get dimmer sensor plants planted to the level where we can plant image multiple acres worth of them and see a natural infection, induce a real signal, and see that from satellite.
That's great. And Piyush, as that's kind of very forward where we're going, your material is, your light bar is actually a commercial product that's in the field in 2025. What's that look like? Where are we in that process, and what's that going to look like in 25 and maybe even in 26?
We already had a version of these devices in this field this summer, and we got some very encouraging data. We saw some fluorescence signals from the field and collected a whole season's worth of data from multiple devices. And I'm excited about 2025 because we have events that are performing even better in the lab that are going out into the field. And in addition to the commercial product where we'll use events that are already proved to work in the lab, we'll also have multiple events that we're still doing research on out in the field being imaged by a number of these light bars, and we will be able to compare them and find the best ones that work and iterate on them to use them for 2026 and beyond, and just get better data and more data from more events as we go on.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you both. Brandon Rasmussen, Piyush Pandey, our detection gurus. Appreciate you joining us today and explaining a little bit about what you do and where we're going from here. As always, please leave any comments you have with us in the comments below, or you can reach out to us via LinkedIn or Twitter at @inner_plant. As always, thanks for watching.